There we go. Okay, I'll put my slides up. Welcome to our second day. Tomorrow's our last day. 3 days of me is a lot, but it's going to be a really good 3 days. And I love that a lot of you have seen other pieces of my work. So you're going to start to see the big structure here. And for those who are new, it's going to give you a really great overview of what it is to use marketing in an effective way for us Canadian small business owners. It needs to look very different for us than it does for organizations or online businesses. And that is the piece that I am able to bring. I am a marketing coach and consultant exclusively for independent business owners. My name is Cheyenne. My business is CO Marketing. I've been doing this for about 6 years. I have worked with over 200 small business owners and solopreneurs, and I am a professional marketer. So I've able to graft those things together, and I've been able to see the commonalities and the reality that we're working with, which is a lot of frustration and struggle around marketing. And that is what these 3 days are all about. So yesterday we went into your business market fit, which we need to know what our market is hiring us to do. This is one of the biggest struggles. It causes a huge amount of the failure rate of Canadian small businesses is that we never find our market fit. The first step to doing that is to figure out which type of business you are. Well, if you are an everyday, an experience, or an expertise style business. We covered that in day one, and that helps us understand what our actual market, our community, or our industry is hiring us for. When we decide to use marketing, we are putting on our CMO hat, our Chief Marketing Officer hat, and we need to stop thinking just as a business owner or just as a technician. And this is the first step. So that was day one. Today, we are going to get into how to build your market confidence. I absolutely love this term. This is my term I came up with, and it is the big picture we need to understand how to tackle marketing. I hear so often people like, I know, I need to get better at marketing. I think that might be the most common thing I hear from anybody as a small business owner. We all understand it's important, but there's something about it that's keeping it really elusive, and we're going to break that down today. So today we are going to talk about, are you building a business or a hobby, which I also like to call a jobby. This is a huge decision point small business owners don't recognize they need to go into because both are viable, both are options, but you want to make that choice consciously and intentionally so you're not trying to apply business model stuff when you're really building yourself a jobby, and you're not getting frustrated at your jobby when it's performing like a jobby. The next piece we're going to talk about are the 3 systems we need for our businesses. These come from Michael Gerber, who is the author of The E-Myth. I have not met or encountered anybody who has dedicated as long and as much time and energy to understanding small businesses as Michael Gerber. And he lists out there's only 3 systems that we need. When we think of systems in our business, it can be very overwhelming. There are 3 core ones we want to build and we want to establish, and 2 of them are marketing. Then we're going to go into the strategy, how strategy is the foundation for building your market confidence. We're going to talk a lot about systems today, but good systems are built on good strategies. And this is one of the reasons as small business owners, we are working against the energy that's out there because there are not strategies built for us until now, which sounds really egotistical, but I have built the strategies with working with so many business owners, and I have applied them to my clients myself. I apply them to my own business. I've applied them over and over again to see that they give us the 20% of marketing that we need to get the 80% of results. And that's what we need as small business owners. We don't have time to learn a new profession. We do not have the budget to hire marketers. We need just enough to give us the results that help us validate our product or service and then help us stabilize our cash flow. This is going to be our framework we're going to get into today. We're going to talk about the market confidence pyramid. And you can see at the base of the pyramid is strategies. That is the foundation of your marketing. At the core of it is systems. This is a really, really important part about building a business. Without systems, you don't have a business, you have a jobby. Skills are at the very, very tip, but this is usually where we focus, either to hire skills out or we try to learn, how do I make an Instagram reel? We either focus our own energy there or we focus our budget there. This is like Katie, who I talked about yesterday. She hired for somebody who had really great social media skills, but it ended up not getting her any leads or any conversions because it wasn't based on her business's strategies. So even when you find someone or you build really great skills, if the strategies and systems aren't there, you will not be able to build market confidence. And when I say market confidence, for most people, we get that reaction of like, yeah, I need to be more confident with my marketing. I know, I just don't feel it. I don't know how to do it. I don't really understand it. And that's right, but it's also wrong. It means that you're sitting in the seat of a business owner. When you say market confidence to someone who is a marketer or wearing their CMO hat, what they hear is it's the confidence the market has in buying from the business. And that is really the goal we have when we're a marketer and we're in marketing mode. We know what we're doing is we're actively creating and cultivating and nurturing a relationship with our market. And if we want market demand, which means they're going to be purchasing from us, then we need to create their confidence in our business. So market confidence, it gives you the confidence to market, but it also gives the market's confidence to buy from you. So it's a two-way street. This pyramid creates both of these things. Now we get into, are you building a business or building yourself a jobbie? This is one of the, I don't want to say pain points, but it is a decision point as we decide to go into self-employment and we decide to build something. It becomes really important that we decide what it is we're building. If we want a jobbie, essentially, we want to be able to have something that pays us. That's all we're worried about. We just want an income from it. And that's wonderful. But if you decide to do that for yourself, you also need to recognize you're taking on all of the extra workload of finding the clients, keeping the operations flowing at some kind of level of smoothness. If you want to have your own job, you're taking on a lot of extra responsibilities and risk if you're doing it for yourself. It's a viable option. A lot of people can go that route, especially leaning back into what we talked about yesterday. If you're an expertise style business and you charge a high ticket, you can do that because you can outsource parts of your jobbie for other people to handle for you because you have enough of a profit margin that you can still hire a bookkeeper or hire someone to generate leads for you while paying yourself decently well. Most businesses, or most of us who are in self-employment or freelancing, we start to get the bug to want to build a business because a business is something that we know eventually, if we build it, we can have a different kind of relationship with it. It can steadily, consistently bring in revenue and income, and we can have things called systems. We can have something that's keeping it running without us having to constantly hustle. So it's a decision to make. And when you decide to build a business, what you're really opting into is to become a systems builder. Because as much as we focus on sales and I need to build my business, I need more sales, sales are a momentary transaction. They are not a business. Your system is what builds your business, which means if you decide you want to build a business and not just a jobbie, you want reliability, you want consistency, you want cash flow, you need to understand systems, how to build them, and which systems you need. And we do not, just like marketing, you don't need to know everything there is to know about marketing. You do not need to know everything there is to know about systems, just what you need as a business owner. And the majority of them actually fall into marketing. Sales without systems are going to lead to instability and burnout. This is where I find most people start to really wonder, okay, what could marketing do for me? After that initial hustle of getting excited and talking to everybody they know personally and professionally and tapping into their immediate network and getting some sales and getting some feedback, we start to enter this loop where we have good months, they can happen, but without that structure, growth usually feels really random and really exhausting because it's just us applying ourselves directly. And this is where we start to wonder, is this really worth it? Like the income is not huge. I could make just as much going back to another type of job or choosing to have someone hire me, and I wouldn't have to have the instability. Ideally, if you have a decent employer, I wouldn't have to be the one pushing everything. This is the decision point we enter. And I do find most of us entrepreneurs, like there's a hunger for the agency and the potential of building a business. So we tend to then move into, okay, so what do I need to do? I know marketing has been lingering. I know that I need to approach this differently. And what it really is at this point, we need to recognize that systems are how you stabilize success. So if you have found people who have purchased, you've had clients, you've been able to sell your products, that's success. If you want to stabilize that, you have to build systems around it. We're going to go really deep into this today because it's actually very logical and very practical how you do this as a business owner. It feels like a huge job, but it's really, really not. And one of the elements of being a independent business owner is that I like to see us as tradespeople. Just like in a culinary school, you don't go and spend 2 years in a classroom studying your textbook. You go into a classroom for about 60 minutes, you study something, and then you walk down the hallway into the lab and you cook it. You test it, you make the sauce, you make the stock, you play with it in real time, you experiment with it, you get immediate feedback. That is the same way we are doing our businesses. We're not getting educated in theoretics. We want things that are immediately applicable so that our feedback loops are very, very short. There's strengths and challenges to this. We're very agile. We're very resilient. We're able to move and adapt at a rate that a larger business is not. But it means the way we build our stuff is going to be very, very different than the way a large organization is going to build. The other reality is that for most of us, as we're building a business, we're also building ourselves as entrepreneurs. We have to scaffold our own set of skills as we grow and as we grow our business, because what we understand about systems in the start or stabilize stage is going to be very different than what we understand about systems in the scale stage. So if you've ever had the experience of going to a small business development center, some organization that supports small businesses, which I absolutely love them, but they slide something to you that's like a 50-page document they're asking you to create, and you go, what? It's because it's a mismatch. They're giving you an organizational style approach, but you're a tradesperson. You're building as you go, you're learning and you're applying, and that's the approach we need. And that's what we're going to get into today. This stat is insane to me. Businesses with documented systems are 313% more likely to report success. It is the difference between something that is sustainable and something that you're going to fall out of or fade out of or get frustrated enough with it that you just bail. I do think this is a bit of a chicken and an egg kind of statistic. People who are naturally system builders are going to be stronger business people. So they're going to lean into building systems. I don't think it's just the systems. I think it's the approach and the mindset, which is why one of my main focuses to help people build their businesses and to really tap into marketing is to help them understand system building. So how do you build systems? I'm a nerd. I find this stuff fun, but I also really like the stability it brings for us. Even in my own home, I build systems for running my household. I have 3 kids. I'm a single mom. It's a lot. There's a lot of moving parts, and I have literally systemized things, and the stress it takes off. I love the saying, a stress-fueled business or a system-fueled business. And I know I much prefer one that does not require my high level of stress to keep things moving. This is what systems do. So when we're building a system, when we say, okay, I need to build systems in my business. I had a conversation earlier this week with a really amazing mastermind that I'm part of. And one of the ladies who's extremely accomplished, extremely successful, she's working on lead generation. And she was frustrated because she knew she needed something more. And we went into the conversation around systems, and she's like, I've had systems. I've paid a lot of money for systems and they didn't work. And most likely the reason it didn't work is because she didn't take this approach. When we first start in our businesses or first start building our systems, it has to be a practice. We are practitioners. And we are the ones personally delivering the product, fulfilling the service, selling the offer, generating the leads, converting the leads. We are the one doing it. And as we do that, we are creating a path. We are step by step finding out what does it feel like, what does it look like to connect to people who are interested, to get them to make a purchase, and to deliver what we promised in that purchase. This early phase is absolutely essential. It's you inventing the pathways that work hands on because this is your business. This is what makes your business unique. It's your approach. It's you working directly with your market. No one will ever understand your market as deeply as you do. It's going to have nuances of your brand, the way you connect with people, the process you go through with people. You will create that unconsciously and intuitively. So the very first step of building a system is being a practitioner. And when you do this in a way that's really effective, which is part of what I teach, is you track what you're doing as you're doing it. You need to do something like 20, 50 times before you're like, yep, 100%, this works. This is the way to go. And then you're ready to build a system off of it. A lot of times people try to jump in and if they do have a sense of systems, they try to systemize something before it's been practiced, before they've proven it works, before they've built the pathway. They try to immediately go in, pave it, put markers, and build a roadmap. But it doesn't work if that pathway has not been created for your business specifically from the heart and soul of what you are doing and what you want to accomplish with your business. So you document and structure the path. After you've done it enough times, this is part of validation as well, proving people want your product. After you've done this enough times, you're going to get into a routine. You're going to naturally, organically create pathways. And then you start to structure them and document them. You capture what's working. Record yourself on Zoom during a sales conversation, and you can start to watch the things that you usually go through, the scripts that you follow intuitively. You build fulfillment checklists and templates. This is now when you start to build a system. You do not arbitrarily have somebody come in and tell you, oh, here's what you need for your system and here's how you're going to do it. That's somebody else injecting their system into your business. You own your strategies, your system, and your skills for your market confidence. So when you turn the pathways into systems, you turn them into systems that are designed to operate independently of your constant hustle. This is when we now can, I don't want to say step away, but we can work more on the business than in the business. We can develop another product or another service. We can do those other things that are calling to us, especially as entrepreneurs. We tend to like to create. We tend to be big picture thinkers, and our business is still running without us. We don't need to be hustling in the middle of it to get it to deliver. There's 3 systems that we're going to talk about in a second, but it's lead generation, lead conversion, and fulfillment. When you build those systems, those 3 things are happening without you. And that's what allows you to step away from the hustle. At this point, once you have paved those paths and you've structured them up, now you can bring in people, tools, or technology to help you operate the business without you needing to do everything manually. But they're following your paths. They are now part of your business. They're executing your business instead of their own or their view, or quite often something that's not even going to work and it's not going to bring in leads or convert them. This is the difference between approaching it from inwards, from internally, and creating your own business because it follows your own paths versus trying to shortcut it and trying to bring people in before you figured out what works for you. At this point, we can do things like automating. We can do things like handing over parts to our assistant. I actually have my assistant taking on some of mine right now, and I hold my things pretty close to my chest. I know my brand. I know how important this is. This is my baby. I have built this over 6 years, but it's only now that I have built my systems, and she's an absolutely incredible woman. She has such a keen sense for this stuff. Now I am removed from a lot of it. Now I can focus on other things. You can use AI automation. You can contract out, but instead of asking someone to be like, can you make my social media work? You say, here's my strategy. Here's the system I follow, the path I follow. Can you step into this role in my business and help me execute it? It's a completely different energy. And this is being a business owner. You have built and shaped something. And now you're going to have other people or automations or AI help you execute. Completely different relationship than just trying to bring in contractors or somebody to do it for you at the start. Just so we understand what a system actually is, because I am all about grounding and logic. Theoreticals are fun, but as business owners, we need to actually know what this is. It's a repeatable pathway that customers move through. It's repeatable. People are going to move through this step by step by step. It creates reliable, predictable outcomes. System is although I guess technically no outcome is a reliable, predictable outcome, but we want it to actually be generating what that system is supposed to generate for us. And it operates even when you're busy. This is something anybody who's worked with me, I have talked about maintenance marketing. You need a system for marketing that when you're busy delivering or life has swept you sideways, your marketing is still running. This is the nuances we need as small Canadian independent business owners, that we will not always have a marketing team that is employed to put 40 hours a week into our marketing. So our strategies and our systems need to look different. The beautiful thing is we only need 3. Really, you lock in these three systems, you are well on your way to creating a really sustainable, consistent business. And I know that is the end goal for all of us. And again, this comes from Michael Gerber. Any of his E-Myth books are absolutely phenomenal to read. And I just finished reading Awaken the Entrepreneur, which is like his manifesto. It's really beautiful to track his own journey. And as soon as he said these, I was like, oh my God, I stopped what I was doing and wrote it all down on my whiteboard, because this is what we need to know. It's what I needed to know. These are our 3 systems. This is it. This is what we need to build. Lead generation, how you attract attention. Lead conversion, how you turn interest into paying customers. And fulfillment, how you deliver what you promised reliably. 2 of these are marketing. This is why marketing is such a crucial skill. This is why, although I started off being a social media marketer for small businesses, and then I would work on higher level strategies, the more I worked with them, the more I recognized I was not doing them justice by allowing them to contract out to me, because I would have to build their strategies and their systems. And if our relationship ended, they would be left without a core part of their business. Lead generation and lead conversion are their marketing. 100%, they are done with marketing. Fulfillment, as a marketer, I would like to say there's a lot of marketing to be done in there. The way you relate with people after they've purchased is a huge part of your marketing. But for the most part, business owners will create their fulfillment system on their own. It's part of how do you want to serve people? What do you want this to look like? And that's why it takes a couple of rounds. You have to go through this 20, 50 times before you yourself feel like you've gotten enough feedback and you've ironed out the kinks. So these are our 3 systems. We're going to go through them one by one. Lead generation, it consistently brings in new prospects. It could be based on social media, SEO, advertising, events, referrals, but it happens by design, not by accident. And I'm going to walk you through in detail, especially tomorrow. We're really going to go into how we do these type of things. Lead conversions, this system turns curious prospects into paying customers. So our generation brings them in, they get interested about us, they become prospects. And then our conversion system is those conversations we have, or the landing page they land on, or the brick and mortar they walk into that they decide to make a purchase. For lead conversion systems, we really need clear offers, simple pathways, and consistent invitations to buy. And our fulfillment systems, these are the systems we usually start with, because you can't really have a business if you don't know what you're going to give people, but they get refined. All of this is iterative. It all evolves as you and your business evolves, which is why you don't want to walk in and build a full fulfillment system in the first 3 years of business, because you want to be able to keep agile. It will keep improving. And the fulfillment system you're going to have at 5 years of business is going to be so strong and so much more valuable if you do not fully lock it in. So your fulfillment system ensures customers receive what you promised reliably, keeping trust high and stress low. And as anybody who's been in business any length of time knows, customer retention is always the goal, because new customer or client acquisition is the most expensive marketing you will ever do. Retention is where you get the highest ROI. So your fulfillment system should be such a positive experience that people want to keep coming back. It's much more advantageous to build a community and an audience than to have to constantly pull people through, because by the time they get into a purchase with you, they don't want to have to come back. It's not something that they're interested in repeating. So when we bring this back into the market confidence pyramid, which this is the practical process for marketing for us small business owners, at our base is our strategy. We've been talking about the core. The middle here is our systems. And I hope you can understand now why, if you are choosing to become a business owner, or you just like not having a lot of stress and instability in your life, you're going to want to learn to build your systems. Not all at once. That would not make sense. In a steady, consistent way that is attuned to where you are in your business. And then skills, again, are those peak level pieces. This is learning how to make a reel. This is learning how to write a hook. This is maybe using ChatGPT to help execute some of the skills. This is bringing in someone to do photography, or getting someone to help with your social media. We know now that systems are absolutely crucial if we want to reduce our stress and we want to increase our consistency and our stability. What about the base? What about the strategies? So systems, like I've been saying, it's like you're wandering around and you're at one point in, let's say, a forest, and you know you want to get to another point. You want to get to this result, and you build a path that brings you there. You decide to just keep walking, to start moving your way through the terrain, and you head off in a direction. A strategy is somebody saying, we could go straight, but I know there is a mountain about 200 kilometers that way. That's probably way too much. About 20 kilometers that way. And I know we do not have mountaineering equipment. We don't have provisions. We are going to hit that. We're going to waste a lot of time and energy trying to move up that. And then we're going to have to turn back and find another way. Instead, there's a river 50 feet that way. We are going to follow the riverbed. We will not have to work through the brush. We will be able to refill our water as we go. And it's going to take us much less time because we're not going to have to double back. That is a strategy. Either way, you're going to move forward and build a path. And you could try and move your way up the mountain through the brush, and you could work really, really hard and hack away at that path and then try to make it into a system and pave it. But it is going to exhaust you, and it will take forever to get there. And that is quite often what happens with us small business owners. We're told, oh, here's the type of system you need. And it's built for a team that has mountaineering equipment. It's built for a team that has resources to bring with them. And so when we head in that direction and we try to build those systems, we assume we're not working hard enough, which we know from that stat of working on average 54 hours a week is not the truth. What it is that our strategies that we're hearing tend to be for influencer style or online businesses. Those tend to be, if you do any of the Amy Porterfield or any of those type of stuff, it's built for mass marketing and mass scale type of businesses where you're just bringing in a bunch of people and you're funneling them through. And that's viable in that way, but it's usually not what us small scale businesses are designed for. The other set of strategies that we tend to get are organizational or corporate strategies, which assume a very different operational reality where you have startup funds and you have a marketing budget and you have a marketing team. And that is not what we have. So what we really need are the right strategies to build our systems, which is what we're going to get into. Systems define how it happens repeatedly and reliably, and strategies define what needs to happen and why. Strategies are saying we're going to go walk along the riverbed instead of going straight forward and trying to make it up that mountain. Systems are us carving those paths and finding what works and marking the way and writing it down in notes, and then we come back and we pave it and we formalize the map. That's the system. This is why if you have the wrong strategy, it doesn't matter if you bring system making in, your business still will not be able to get the results that you need. So starting with the right strategy is going to help get you there to the correct system much faster and with much less friction. Systems create the path and strategy points the way. Really, really important, clearly, because I keep reiterating it. So we're going to go into the 3 levels of the market confidence pyramid. I want you to see how these things stack up. One of the realities for us as small business owners, like I was saying earlier, is that we don't have 6 months to sit and build all of these strategies. We are not going to operate out of a 20-page document for our brand strategy. That's not the reality of our businesses, and it's not the reality of how much we understand marketing. Even myself, as a professional marketer, my own brand strategy is about 2-3 pages because I do not need more than that. More than that would overwhelm where my business is. So this confidence pyramid, the market confidence pyramid, it grows and adjusts as our business grows and adjusts. We always have strategies, we always have systems, and we always have skills. At the very beginning, we're doing all of it. We have very simple focus strategies, very simple focus systems, and we are almost always the person executing the skills. As our business grows and we start to get cash flow and we start to get some kind of budget and we move from the start stage to the stabilized stage, this pyramid will shift again. Our strategies will be more in place. We can add a couple of extra ones. We can feed in more data. Our systems will get a little more complex. We can bring in automation. We can bring in an assistant. And our skills, in a really ideal place, we're able to start bringing in other people who are using their skills to be able to execute. So each time your business grows and goes through a different phase, your pyramid is who's executing, and the nuances to the pyramid is going to change, but you are always going to have these 3 pieces. So strategy is deciding what and why. This is why, as a business owner, when you put on your CMO hat, strategy needs to be owned by you. You need to be the person deciding what and why. Otherwise, who is building your business? This is your vision. It's your outcome. It's you knowing what you want. And so you have to set the vision of it and the pace and the tone. Your system is build how you deliver it consistently. This is after you've done it enough times, you build that system. And your skill is choosing who helps you execute it. Beginning, sometimes we don't get to choose. It's us, even if we don't necessarily like playing around with content marketing or whatever it is we're going to have to do. We have to do it just enough to be able to grow us to the next stage, in which case we can usually bring in support. One of the most common mistakes that happens is that we try to build this backwards. We start at the skill level. So many small businesses are hiring freelancers, maybe they're buying ads, or they're outsourcing their social media without building the strategy or systems first. Or they're trying to learn how to play with Canva. And we focus so much on the skills that one of the things that breaks my heart is I see us pouring a lot of time and energy and money. Like Katie yesterday, she poured a lot of money into that level and then not getting any results out of it. And we are not in a place where we can waste time, energy, and money. We need things to work so that we can keep building a business. And it's because we're going at it backwards. Instead of putting the foundation first, we're trying to come at it and just approach the very top of the pyramid. 73% of small business owners lack confidence that their current marketing strategies are effectively contributing to their business goals. I know this. I have seen this over and over again. I feel like I love marketing and I love small business owners, and I feel like they're in a dysfunctional relationship with each other. I know both are really amazing, and I want to like help them come together and understand how they can be together and create really beautiful things. So this piece, what happens is that even when we're trying to market, we're like, I did this, I built systems, I paid a lot of money, I had someone do my social media, I'm posting every day, I've sent out emails, but nothing's happening. So we get frustrated with marketing as a whole, and we kind of get this, not, I'd say, yeah, an intolerance for marketing because we have such a negative association with it. When the problem is not the marketing, it's the fact that we're focused on the skill level. We need to come back down and we need to focus on the strategy level. And even when we try to do that, we get so much messaging around influencer style and online style, or here you need to build this huge type of strategy and nothing is a fit for us. So I see all of these small business owners working their butts off, trying their best to piece together something that's going to work. And the only real solution is to bring in a consultant like me who can come in, apply all of the marketing frameworks and really understand where you are and give you a one-on-one strategy. But that's out of budget for most of us. Or you're going to spend 3-4 years trying to understand marketing well enough that you can create your own marketing strategy. And nobody has the time for that. So instead, because I have worked with over 200 and my brain thinks in structures and systems naturally, I developed this for myself because after working with a bunch of clients, I could see the system and the framework behind it, graphing on from my marketing background. And I developed my own so that I could execute very quickly and I could do this in a way that was very systematic. This is the marketing stack. What we went through on Monday yesterday, where you figured out which kind of business model you are, it's going to decide the nuances of your marketing stack. So we have along the bottom everyday experience and expertise. Most of us, almost all of us, are going to be one of these types of businesses. These 4 blocks are your 4 strategies. These are the only 4 strategies we need to make those 2 core marketing systems of lead generation and lead conversion. And it can tap into fulfillment as well. You need your brand strategy, your content strategy, your funnel strategy, and your go-to-market. That's it. 4 strategies. That's all we need. The nice thing is tomorrow, I'm going to give you the strategy for each of the different styles of businesses. And when you build them and you put them on top of each other, you put each block, you end up with a full marketing stack, which takes care of the strategy and the system part of your market confidence pyramid. And then I always advise, if you're in the DIY stage, for the skills, figure out what you're good at or what you're really excited to learn. Don't expect yourself to be good at all of the different types of marketing. You don't need to be. You only need to pull in a small percentage of your market anyways. So if you're really comfortable on camera, lean into reels and lives and webinars. If you're a really good writer, lean into writing. So apply the skill you already have rather than trying to build a business, fulfill, network, and then learn a whole new marketing skill. That's my advice for anybody. And if you're in the stage where you can contract, you can bring people on, focus mostly social media and email are core pieces that will drive enough results to grow the business. So the 4 marketing strategies: brand strategy. You're going to use it to build customer trust and reputation. Brand is one of the least tangible, but it is, I would argue, probably the most important. This is what sets you apart from anybody else in the market. It's called differentiation. This is what also draws the right fit people to you. So if there is a specific paradigm or value that you are coming to your business with, and you only want to work with people who share that paradigm of value or are open to it, this is what your brand does. Once you cement your brand strategy, which there's only 3 parts to it: voice, vision, and value, we're going to go through tomorrow, you will then put out communication that attracts the right people and allows the right people to identify you as a fit for them. Your go-to-market strategy is a key part of your lead generation. This is how you reach new people. How are you going to go to your market? It's a pretty basic name. It's kind of funny they never came up with a different name than that. It's really describing what you do. We cannot sit back and expect people to come to us unless we want to put a lot of time and a lot of energy into creating content. So for go-to-market, we can buy, borrow, or build. Build is that post on social media and let people come to us. It works. It takes a long time and you have to be really good at content. Buy and borrow are usually the ones that we lean into that give us the quickest results. Content strategy is the other part of your lead generation. So it keeps you visible and it nurtures your leads. So we're going to talk tomorrow about how we have a content strategy that allows people to get to know, like, and trust us. Combine that with your go-to-market, and now you have a lead generation system. You have some kind of regular activity that you're doing that is bringing you into the awareness of your community or industry. And then you have content that is allowing the right fit people to come closer and to get to know, like, and trust you. And then your 4th strategy that you need is your funnel strategy. And this helps turns interest into paying customers. So you have your lead generation, which is your go-to-market and your content. And then conversion is your other system, lead conversion. That's going to be created through your funnel. And if you're a service provider, you're probably also going to have a sales conversation that will be part of your lead conversion. I find most service providers, they usually hit a point where I know if I can get into conversation with somebody, people are going to move forward with me. It's not usually something that they struggle with too much. It's hard to keep building a business if you don't feel like you can get people interested in what you have to offer. So when you put these 4 strategies together, you end up with your system. So each strategy point directly to the system you need. Remember those three core marketing systems, core business systems: lead generation, lead conversion, and fulfillment. That's all we need. And these four marketing strategies on the base of our pyramid create the lead generation and the lead conversion. Fulfillment is something we have to do on the other side. Without this alignment, what tends to happen is we're doing activities. We are very, very busy. We are working 54 hours a week. We are posting, we are trying, we are networking, we are talking, we are reading, we are learning, but we're not getting the results. Systems are what brings the results. As long as we are not telling ourselves to climb up the mountain with no gear, and instead we're walking a path that's going to work with the resources we have and the context we're actually in. I'm about wrapped up here. So if you have any questions, get them ready. Nice and early today. My main question today that I want you to sit with, and if you're going to use the custom GPT companion that I've created, you can go in and explore with this, is have you started as a practitioner to build this path for your three core business systems: lead generation, lead conversion, and fulfillment? Where do you feel like you are with each of those? I strongly suspect most of us fulfillment will be like, yeah, I feel like I've got that. Especially if you're at the beginning, that'll be the first one you'll check off. Tends to work backwards. So fulfillment, and then we tend to get more comfortable with lead conversion. And then we're like, I need to generate leads. This is the first thing. If someone understands marketing jargon and they come to a marketer, it's almost always be like, oh, I need lead generation. They always know that that's the system that isn't spinning enough. But as soon as people come to them, they can have a conversation. And the really beautiful thing is, as you build these systems, you can find ways to automate. You can bring it, like my assistant works with my lead conversion. She does a lot of pieces of that, and then she'll do a lot of the fulfillment that doesn't involve one-on-one with me. She'll send recordings, she'll do that piece. So as you build the systems, you start to recognize, where are the parts of this system that I can pull out of? And that helps you get to the point where you're working on your business much quicker than having to pour all of your time into your business. And if you go through this and you think of those three paths or systems that you're in the middle of building, and you're like, I don't really feel like I have anything that I've really figured out, then you're probably caught in the random acts of marketing trap. And if you look back, I am sure you have been busy, because if you're here, you're someone who's investing your time and your energy into your business and your marketing. So you've probably been doing stuff. And if you look back at what you've been doing, you can probably track that what's happened is you've been all over the map. You've been trying this, and there's been no strategy behind it. You've just been picking up pieces of what you've heard and what you've absorbed, and then you've been applying yourself and probably not getting the results you want. And it's because you have not built that market pyramid confidence. You don't need to spend 6 months figuring out all of your strategies. You can do it very condensed and consistently. I was toying with, so some have been exposed to my marketing stack and some are in programs where I've built it with you. I'm also going to be running one next month where I was thinking about maybe opening it up live for anyone that wants to go through it with me. Otherwise, I'm recording it because I have a economic developer who's interested in it as a solution, which is great. But if anybody wants to, send me an email and I will potentially take in a few people. The other thing that we're going to do at the end of that one is we're going to build a custom GPT. So you're going to put in all of your strategies and you're going to build your own GPT, so it will help with the skills. It will actually be built, trained on your strategies, and it can help a lot with the execution. So here are our takeaways for today. Sales alone don't build a business. As much as we want sales and it feels like, yay, sales, I'm a successful business owner, we're probably a jobbiest at that point. Your systems are what creates the structure and the strength of your business. It's also what allows you to see where you can pull out and somebody else can do that piece with no compromising to the energy and the soul of the business you're building. Every small business needs 3 core systems. You need your lead generation, your lead conversion, and your fulfillment. Without those, you are going to find yourself frustrated. Either you're not bringing in enough people to have those conversations with, or to have them see your product, or to have them land on your landing page, or to have them in your store so you can't convert them. Or if you are converting them and then you're struggling on the fulfillment part, you're going to have low retention rate, you're going to have low referral rates, and that's going to mean you have to have more lead generation. So all of these three put together is what creates a strong flow through your business. It also is what creates the most effective business and the most effective marketing. These being locked in and good, and you feel like they operate and you can adjust them and grow them as you should constantly, means that there's less of the hustle and less of the stress required to bring in results. And the right systems are going to be built from the right strategies. You do not want to carve a path up the mountains through the brush and exhaust yourself trying to do it when you could walk along the riverbed and get to the destination and build the path in a much less energy draining way that makes the whole process of being a business owner much more, not even just enjoyable, but doable. The reality is, if we are adults with adult responsibilities, we only have a certain amount of time that we can sit in a business that is not generating a good ROI and that is taking us away from our family, our partners, our community, ourselves, our life, whatever it is that we want to invest in, which is usually why we get into entrepreneurship, because there's some kind of appeal to creating the life we want. We only have so much tolerance for that. And a lot of the times we get done with business, and that Canadian business failure rate is so high because people reach a point where they're like, I could keep on doing this, but I don't want to. This is not worth the trade-off. The stress and the instability is not worth what it means to be a business owner. And it's actually because they are not building a business yet. They're building a jobby. So those are our takeaways. Tomorrow, we're going to go into how to build your marketing stack. I'm really excited for it. I love my marketing stack. It feels like my fourth child. Well, I have three animals, so my seventh child, oh gosh, it feels like a baby to me, and it's taken a lot of time, and I really, really love the clarity that it creates for people and the energy and enthusiasm to go out and market. So that's what we're going to build. And my core lesson from this is that marketing is not something we have, it's something we do. This is another key paradigm shift as business owners putting on our CMO hat. We need to understand marketing as a regular operational piece of our business. I'm going to give you some breakdowns for marketing meetings. I know most of you who have worked with me before have heard this. I'm going to keep saying it till we all have our marketing meetings in place. And I'm going to show you brick by brick what this marketing stack looks like. So your brand for an everyday business is going to be a different strategy than your brand for an expertise style business. And this is probably going to create some clarity again around where you have been in random acts of marketing. And you're going to be like, oh, I was definitely projecting that kind of reputation, but I really can see why it would work better for me if I projected this one, not because you're trying to be arbitrary, but because of what we talked about on Monday, yesterday, that we want to be sending out the best resume for the job we want to be hired for. Because as much as I love the self-actualization that comes with entrepreneurship, it's not about self-expression. That's a piece of it. But the other really, really large piece is about connecting to the market. We need to understand what the market needs from us so that we can be in a flowing relationship with them, which means they have a job in their lives, just like we have in our lives. It's either an everyday style, an experience style, or an expertise style job. And if we want them to hire us for that job, we need to present to them our qualifications that make them recognize us when we are the right fit. So that's what we're going to go through tomorrow, brick by brick by brick. We're going to break down the examples for each. I'm going to have a sample brand for each of them. If anyone's seen my Bean There Cafe, I am in love with this little pretend cafe. He now has friends. So we have an example for each style of business. I'm going to help you really understand what that looks like. And I will update the custom GPT, which will have another process you can go through, which can help you analyze where you are in building these paths and building the systems that you need for your business. Okay. Any questions? Feel free to ask. I'm going to unspotlight myself. Anybody have any questions, feedback? Want to ask about my 7 babies? No? Marta, are you going to ask a question, or you just...
I have one lingering, but it's kind of further back, so I'm trying to remember what it was.
Happens to me all the time. I was thinking about you as writing this, actually, because I can see I think your soul is very naturally very creative, And I think that comes through in your social. I think you're really expressing yourself through your social, but it's not capturing your expertise. I can see how it's that understanding the intention behind your marketing starts to shift. I have seen so many people who, once this clicks, they're like, oh, I can do that. I just didn't know that's what I should be doing to get the results that I want. So I love seeing that click happen for people.
I just wanted to add to that real quick. So when you were sharing that slide yesterday with the expertise and all that, that was like, okay, I get it. Because I thought that I was creating this like experience of like you get to live a beautiful life. And it's like, no, I mean, that's a part of it, but that's not the point. And I've definitely shifted a few days ago already, but like how I'm creating my content and the posts, and I'm focusing more on LinkedIn, where
Nice.
I'd find more of my market than Facebook and TikTok. So I'm getting there, but I'm really excited about this whole event that you have going on because I feel like it's going to bring so much clarity to my messaging. And just you're so lovely. So like I could just be here and just hang out and just have you in the background. So I mean, either
Aw,
way, this is a great time.
I love it. I uh I definitely agree with see, it's the energy that you bring. And when we get more nuanced into this, what you're inviting people into is a transformation of their lifestyle. And that is genuinely part of it. It's absolutely incredible. But because you've been putting that front and center instead of putting your expertise front and center, all they're seeing is like, oh, I love her vibes, right? So I was thinking about you yesterday. If you were running something like a community or an experience style product, your style of marketing would draw people in because they'd want to be in the vibes. But because what you're offering is application of your expertise, you want to show up and showcase that. The rest of it will be there as well, which will help kind of role model for people. It's like my marketing. If I was to say all of this expertise style stuff around marketing, and then you looked at my LinkedIn and it was like really bad stock photos, just like horrible you'd be like, something's not lining up here. So your energy and your lifestyle and your enthusiasm brings the congruence, but your expertise is what gets you hired for the job. That's why the expertise wants to be a big part of it. And it doesn't have to be all one or the other, but without the expertise, people don't see you as a qualified candidate for someone to help bring them through into that lifestyle.
Oddly enough, I mean, I'm confident in what I do. I have no idea how to come on screen and be like, look, or like not literally say, look, I'm an expert, but to portray that in my messaging because I don't know. I guess I'm stuck in my work is so individual to each client that it's like when I'm in the session, like it's beautiful. But how do I generalize that and then put it into content for everyone or
Yeah.
my client avatar, I guess.
That's what we're going to go into tomorrow. And this is one of those pieces that I love tracking psychologically is when we start, it's intuitive, it's unconscious. We know how to show up. We just are who we are. And this is why I love small scale businesses. The level of integrity we usually move through business with is unmatched. The problem becomes when that's unconscious, how do you transfer that to marketing? So, one of the beautiful pieces I get to do with people is I get to go and observe them and see what it is that they're bringing, and I get to help extract it and make it conscious so they're aware of it, and then they can transfer it into their marketing. You're gonna love this journey. I'm super excited for this. Thank you for all the lovely comments in the chat. I know I give a lot. I try to actually scale it back. I do not seem to be capable of it. I seem to just be I'm a lot. That's my signature energy is intensity. But I promise you it'll keep ruminating. And the more times you come back and see what I'm talking about, the more the frameworks are going to start to click. That's why I have those models to start helping us. And Marta, that's a trick for expertise, by the way. You build the models and then it gives people the visual framework to start locking in what you're giving them and your knowledge. Perfect. Okay, we got a couple more minutes. Any other questions? Anything else bouncing around anybody's head before we shut it down? Nope. Okay. See you guys tomorrow, hopefully, or catch the replay. Tomorrow is going to be really tangible. it's been full flowing for you, tomorrow is going to be the really big, like, aha, this is what I need to do. This is the direction I'm going. So I'm really excited for tomorrow. I'm really glad you appreciate the insights and strategies. This is my contribution and I'm really enjoying doing it. So thank you for being here with me, and hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye-bye.